Welcome to Mimi's podcast. For decades, I've been regarded as sweet by the hundreds of people I've tried to build relationships with. A number of them would use generous words like kind, good-hearted. I once got the sweet soul compliment. The sad part though, none of these relationships lived long enough. They all died at infant stages, and the ones that by some miracle crossed over into toddler stage became way too toxic. I've pondered over and over on the reasons why I lose good people. The good, bad, and evil. And on a day when I feel another healthy relationship slipping through my fingers, I'll revisit the issue. Relationships make or mar us. I remember getting into my first relationship with a lot of hope. I'd want to add clarity of purpose, but what did I know at that age? But for what it's worth, it was blissful. If I could, I would relive the pleasant days again and again. But when it ended on a note that I didn't foresee, I broke into 1,000 pieces. Sometimes, when we get shattered, our egos fail to admit that it has been wounded. So rather than sit still and carefully put our broken pieces back together, we forge ahead, seeking validation. This time is not a hopeful search, it's a hunger for what almost feels like vengeance. With a point to prove to my many spectators who aren't while my relationship sailed, I got off on a canoe and sailed out to shore, desperate to hop on another ship. The circle went from ship to ship, canoe to canoe, unhealthy expectations, frustrations, hysteria, and boom! Another angry black woman was born. A few years ago, I met an acquaintance who sniffed out the toxicity from my varied aura. He made a comment that stuck. You're sweet, but unlovable. Offensive, huh? But he wasn't wrong. And while it's easy to take offense at the unjust judgment we get from people we barely know, it's safe to ponder on them long enough to self-evaluate that the words sound mean doesn't mean they're wrong. After my self-evaluation, which is hard by the way, imagine having to say you're the problem to your reflection in the mirror, not because you want to be the problem, but because you didn't manage one problem right and somehow nurtured a disaster. I realized it was either retrace your steps or continue the endless cycle to nowhere. So how can someone be sweet yet unlovable? A paradox. We're never the same after suffering from a smash. But sitting back to pick up our pieces means we get to pick up the parts of us that once made us whole. The sweet that once sat comfortably with the funny, and the enthusiasm that held up the vigor might be displaced, but it'll always be there, always within reach. And on a day when my insecurities led me to the tantrum that has ruined yet another relationship, I'll hold on to the empathy I'm quick to give in others who are fighting to heal. Because healing is a journey. Do we know the destination? I'm not sure. But what I'm sure of is there'll always be a dwindle in performance periodically. And I want you to know that you're doing great. Stay with me for more stories on my healing journey. Thank you for listening. I love you guys. Bye for now. Mimi's podcast.